Hi everyone, welcome back to Falcon's House. This is the Lost Watch vlog. Today we are starting Season 4 with episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Normally I would only do 2 episodes, but less things happened in these first opening episodes, so it made sense to double up this week, and I may or may not continue that going forward. We'll have to see, depending on the length of how long it takes me to write these recaps, and my opinions and everything else, and how long I think my episodes will be, my videos. So, once again, I'm using Wikipedia for some of the recap information, but I'm editing it, and I'm adding my own opinions. Okay, so in the first episode, after being knifed in the back by Locke in the 3rd season finale, Naomi uses her satellite phone to call George Minkowski on the freighter. Before she dies, she tells him that her injury was an accident and to give her love to her sister. Meanwhile, Hurley finds Jacob's cabin. He looks through the window and sees an unidentified man in a rocking chair. Before someone steps up to the glass, only the left eye visible. Hurley runs away, but finds the cabin again, in a different location. He squeezes his eyes shut, and when he opens them, the building is gone, and Locke appears. What is going on with the cabin? Why was it able to move? And not just why was it able to move, who were the people inside? Because before, only Locke's been able to see somebody in there. So, is Hurley special too? In the flash forwards, it is a little weird saying forward instead of back at this point. I mean, I guess I did have to make changes because at some point we were going to know all the backstory, but it still feels weird to be flash forward. Anyway, the flash forwards show that Hurley is famous as one of the Oceanic Six after his escape from the island and is keeping quiet about his time there. Hurley encounters a ghost of Charlie. Shocked, he speeds away in his Camaro and is apprehended by the Los Angeles police. Hurley is being interrogated by Ana Lucia's former partner, Detective Mike Walton, and he lies that he has no knowledge of Ana Lucia. Hurley, looking at the interrogation room's mirror glass, imagines seeing Charlie swimming in water until he breaks the glass and floods the room. Hurley willingly returns to the Santa Rosa Mental Hospital, where he is visited by Matthew Abaddon, who claims to be an attorney for Oceanic Airlines. When Abaddon fails to provide a business card, he asks if they are still alive before stealthily exiting. A ghost of Charlie appears, who tells Hurley that they need him. Finally, Hurley is visited by Jack, who is thinking of growing a beard, and Jack confirms that Hurley will not reveal the Oceanic Six's secrets. Hurley apologizes for going with Locke and insists that they return to the island, but Jack refuses. Which kind of shows that these flash forwards occur before the Jack's flash forwards in the season finale, because at that point, Jack was the one wanting to go back to the island, and everybody else, or at least Kate, was not the one that was willing to go back. So these take place before Jack decided that he needs to get back. Desmond returns through the looking glass, bearing Charlie's final message that the freighter offshore is not owned by Penny. The survivors reunite at Flight 815's cockpit, and Jack knocks Locke onto the ground, and takes out his gun and pulls the trigger. He finds that the gun is not loaded because Locke had no intention of killing Jack earlier that day. Locke tells the castaways that they are in great danger and leaves for the barracks with Hurley, Sawyer, Claire, and her baby Aaron, Rousseau, and with Ben as her captive, Alex, Carl, Vincent, and 4 other survivors. Soon after, Jack and Kate see a helicopter and meet Daniel. After Daniel parachutes from a failing helicopter onto the island, he uses Naomi's phone to contact George Minkowski on the ship that he came from. The next morning, on December 22nd, 2004, Jack and Kate help Daniel find his colleagues, as the rival group led by Locke attempts to do the same. Jack and Kate find Miles, who demands to see Naomi's body, and the reasons that Naomi was killed by Kate, as Naomi set a code on the phone before dying. So I guess she didn't really have a sister or something like that. Kate confesses that Naomi was killed by Locke. Locke's group finds Charlotte, takes her prisoner, and disposes of her tracking device. Daniel's third colleague, helicopter pilot Frank, fires a flare into the sky, leading Jack's group to him. Frank tells Jack's group that he managed to land the helicopter intact. After finding out that Juliet is one of the others, Miles demands to know where Ben is, as locating him is the freighter's crew's primary objective. In Locke's group, several people become discontent with Locke's revelation that he is following the instructions of Walt, who had left the island more than a month earlier. And they also question why Ben is being kept alive. Locke holds him at gunpoint, and Ben starts to reveal information about the Kahana crew, specifically Charlotte's identity, and that he has a spy aboard the ship. It is interesting to see new people on the island after so long, but it's kind of welcome at this point. We've been with the same characters for many seasons at this point, and we've had people come and go as we met more of the others and things like that. But this is another good influx of people, especially people that have been off the island and don't have all the same ties or loyalties or know about all of that. The next episode's 5 flashbacks focus on the reactions and activities of the freighter's crew made contact with the Oceanic 815 survivors. Daniel Faraday is shown crying while watching a newscast confirming the deaths of all the Oceanic 815 passengers. He is the caretaker, asks why he is crying, and he answers that he does not know. Miles Strom is a medium hired by an elderly woman to remove a ghost of her grandson from her home. After conversing with the spirit, Miles finds a hidden cache of money and drugs. Charlotte Lewis is an anthropologist who finds a polar bear skeleton bearing a Dharma Initiative collar buried in the Tunisian desert. Frank Lapidus is an alcoholic who was originally scheduled to pilot Flight 815. He phones the Oceanic hotline while watching the newscast and claims that the footage of the plane wreckage being aired on the television is not authentic, while Naomi is shown in a posthumous flashback criticizing her employer Matthew Abaddon for her choice in coworkers. This is a very good way to introduce all the new characters, and we find a little about the rest of the world, what they thought about Oceanic Flight 815, and why they think they're all dead is interesting. That they think that this plane crashed somewhere else. Also, that Matthew is not really working for Oceanic Flight 815. He's working for this freighter crew that was after Ben. So I wonder who he's really working for. Jack and Miles argue about what to do with Ben, and Miles' colleague Charlotte, both sought after by Miles and his colleagues, and taken prisoner by Locke. Saeed pays his respects to Naomi and takes her bracelet. He then offers to retrieve Charlotte without bloodshed. In return, her gaining a helicopter flight to the freighter anchored offshore. He takes along Miles and Kate. Saeed asks Jack to not come with them as he might be unpredictable around Locke. I mean, he did try to just kill him. So, that makes sense. The episode's flash forwards are centered on Saeed in Berlin, who has since become one of the Oceanic Six. He is hired as an assassin and courts a German woman, Elsa, in order to get closer to her employer, the Economist. After several dates, Saeed turns on Elsa, who reveals herself to be a counter-spy by unexpectedly shooting Saeed in the shoulder. Saeed is able to shoot and kill Elsa. As the episode ends, Saeed is treated for his wound by Ben, who gives him another assignment. Saeed is now wary since they know that he's after them. To which Ben replies, "Good. Who is this person that they were after? And why do they want him? And why is Saeed working for Ben?" I mean, they hated each other for so long. Well, maybe Ben didn't hate Saeed, but Saeed's definitely hated Ben for a lot of the things that he's done for a very long time. I mean, he's basically tortured him before, and now they're working together. So, something has to happen in the future that changes everything off the island. While Saeed is gone, Daniel asks Regina, a colleague on the freighter, to shoot a projectile onto the island. Regina does so, but the projectile does not arrive for 30 minutes. When it lands, Daniel extracts a clock from the payload and finds that the two times that the one running on the island and the one running outside are not synchronized. What is causing the time on the island to be different? Also, if the time is different, how long have they actually been on the island? The survivors, led by Locke, at the location of Jacob's cabin, but find the area deserted. Locke changes his course to the barracks and uses Hurley to ambush Saeed, Kate, and Miles. Kate is watched by Sawyer, and they discuss their reasons for not wanting to go home. Kate, realizing that she would be arrested for her crimes upon rescue, defects to Locke's group. Saeed negotiates with Locke to exchange Charlotte with Miles in order to get access to the boat. Locke tells him that he wouldn't be necessary as Ben has a spy on the freighter, to which Saeed responds that he would rather sell his soul than trust Ben, which makes it even more interesting that he was working for Ben in the future. At the helicopter, Desmond confronts Lapidus about the picture Naomi had of him and his ex-fiancée Penelope. Frank denies any knowledge of her, but Desmond nevertheless demands a place on the helicopter. At the same time, Saeed returns with only Charlotte. While Frank accuses Saeed of being dishonest, he considered Miles a pain in the ass and agrees to fly them offshore. Locke is keeping Ben prisoner in a basement of the house that he has claimed in the barracks. He prepares breakfast for him, including the 2 remaining eggs, which he fries along with some fresh melon, but Ben taunts him and Locke becomes frustrated. Kate cuts a deal with Locke's prisoner, Miles. He will tell her what he knows about her if he can speak to Ben for a minute. Miles wants to extort $3.2 million from Ben, and in return, Miles will lie to his employer and claim that Ben is dead. Miles gives Ben a week to produce the cash. Before Locke finds them, Miles reveals that he knows all about Kate's past. Locke banishes Kate from the barracks and goes to a lake house where Miles is being held captive. Locke puts a grenade in Miles' mouth so that if he ceases to bite, he will die. Kate sleeps with Sawyer, but she does not have sex with him. Before Kate leaves for the camp at the beach, she slaps Sawyer across the face after he suggests that she is just pretending to be mad as an excuse to go back to Jack and continue their love triangle. I'm getting tired of this love triangle thing. I'm just tired of them all fighting over her and her, like, not being able to decide, like, just make up your mind already, pick one or don't pick, or, like, who cares? Like, at this point, they're making way too big of a deal of it. It's way too far in the show to be dealing with this stuff. Kate's not some helpless heroine anymore. Like, she can clearly handle herself, and she should be able to make her own decision about what she wants instead of these two guys trying to manipulate the crap out of her so that she'll date them. It's kind of creepy. It's like, it's not like Charlie level creepy, but it's definitely creepy. After leaving the island, Kate is famous as one of the Oceanic Six. She is tried for her numerous crimes and committed before the crash and pleads not guilty. Because Kate is opposed to bringing her son into the trial, Jack is called in as a character witness. He lies in his testimony saying that Flight 815 crashed in the water, 8 survived the crash, and 2 have since died, and Kate was primarily responsible for the Oceanic Six's survival. Kate speaks with her mother Diane for the first time in 4 years, and Diane is no longer angry with Kate because her perspective changed when she thought that Kate had died in the plane. When Diane, the prosecution's star witness, no longer wants to testify against her daughter, the district attorney makes a plea deal, and Kate gets 10 years of probation but must stay in the state of California. Jack meets Kate in the parking garage. He admits that he still loves her, in contrast to his false testimony under oath on her behalf, and asks her to go out for coffee with him. Kate responds that they cannot go out until he is willing to visit her baby. It is then revealed that Kate is raising Claire's son, Aaron, as her own. Since it doesn't seem like Claire made it off the island, this is probably the best choice, and I don't really see a problem with this. It sounds like a good plan, nobody would know, nobody has to know about Claire, who's probably still alive on the island, and then this way there's not weird questions about why do you have this random baby. You can just claim it's yours, and it'll all work out fine. Meanwhile, Jack returns to Survivor's Beach Camp with Juliet and newcomers Daniel and Charlotte. Jack and Juliet grow increasingly uneasy over a series of unsuccessful attempts to contact the freighter by satellite phone and verify that Desmond, Saeed, and Frank, who departed for the freighter by helicopter the previous evening, had arrived safely. That evening, as Charlotte tests Daniel's memory using playing cards, Daniel successfully remembers 2 out of the 3 cards, and Charlotte remarks that this is progress. I mean, remember that Daniel was had a caretaker and had been going crazy, so the island seems to be healing him like it does everybody else. So this magic healing power that the island has is still in effect. So it didn't necessarily have to do with the electromagnetic thing that I thought it did, because I thought that's what fixed Rose. But it definitely seems to be helping Daniel. Jack and Juliet ask if there is another phone number that they could try. Charlotte dials an emergency number and speaks to Regina, who reports that the helicopter never arrived. I assume the time differences between the island and the real world are why the helicopter never arrived, and there's nothing to really worry about, but none of them know that. Thanks for watching. Please share with other Lost fans. I may or may not continue doing 4-episode blocks to get through this faster, but we'll have to see how long this takes, and we'll go from there.